Someone that I've been listening to on the radio for some time. I've been watching him on TV. I'm not even going to just mess up this intro. I want to go straight into it to my friend. He is the former B96, the Stylz and Roman show host. He has his own show now on the Marquee Network, and he's going to tell us all about it and about other things and some tips for all the youngsters. Let's welcome to my friend, Justin Roman. What's up, Justin?
Yeah, what's up, man? How you guys doing? It's so weird in the virtual world, right? Because you just imagine people are clapping, but like no one really is clapping right now. It's me and you. But thank you for the great intro.
How you doing, man? How you doing today?
Doing great, man. Doing great. I appreciate you reaching out and wanted to do this with me, and let's have some fun.
You know, this is something that I've been watching you for some time. Well, like I just said in the intro, right? But you got this new show, man, and it's as a Cub fan and born and raised on the North Side. I think before we talk a little bit about the show, let's get a little context. Like, man, like you just popped up on the scene, B96. You went from B96 to US 99. You are a Chicago face in the media world, and man, you bring us that fun in our living room, especially with the Cubbies. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in your life today.
Yeah, man. So a lot of people do know me from back in the day from Stylz and Roman at B96. We were there for 12 years, night show for 2 years, afternoon show for 10 years. It was crazy to think about the fact that I was there for 10 years in the afternoons. Then we moved over, got promoted to the morning show at US 99 for 3 years. And that was about, I've been off the radio for about 3 years now. It was a great 15-year run. My radio career is definitely not done. Just pressing pause for a hot second and then kind of ventured into this TV thing. So for me, I stumbled into radio because of music. Like I'm a musician, right? So back in the day, I was, you're going to laugh, but I was in a boy band called VI3. And you don't really know the group or our album, but like we had a top 40 record called Eyes Closed So Tight, which I still think is the best song I ever wrote in my life. It was a really, really good song, top 40 record nationwide that I wrote, co-produced, and sang lead on. And because of that group, because of that song, I got the B96 gig because my music manager was a big shot at B96. So he brought me over when he kind of saw me doing interviews. He's like, oh, you'd be great on the radio. So I kind of stumbled into radio, had a very successful career in radio. Again, not done yet, but taking a pause. And then because of radio, I stumbled into TV, right? So that's how I kind of, when I was doing the radio, I was doing also like Windy City Live here in Chicago on ABC. Yeah. I was doing back in the day, David Kaplan's TV show. I was on there all the time talking sports. Yeah. Any TV show that was in Chicago.
I got to get Cap on here. You got to get me with Cap.
Oh, Cap's my guy. I love David Kaplan. We'll talk about him in a little bit. But any TV show in Chicago, I was on basically all of them, right? So once my radio career kind of paused, it was like, all right, man, let's just do this TV thing. Because I'll be honest, like, doing radio for 15 years was super, super fun, but there's a whole different energy when it comes to TV. There really, really is. There's cameras there. There's viewers there. There's an audience. There's a different energy with TV. And radio, me and my partner, Dougie Stylz, we always joked about, like, we're in this studio in like a box, right? And you forget that at any given time, there's like a million listeners listening to you in the car, right? You don't realize it when you're in the studio. With TV, there's no confusion. The camera is there. The audience is there. You know something big is happening while you're doing it. It's a different energy, right? So basically, it's such a funny story. I met a girl along the way who happens to be my fiance currently, Kenzie K from B96, coincidentally. She's the midday girl.
Congratulations.
Yeah, my girl. So, yeah, thank you so much. So we're engaged to be married in April. And I tell you this because we, during the pandemic, kind of started a brand together. So I had Stylz and Roman. I was the Bulls entertainment host with Courtney and Roman. And then my girlfriend at the time, now my fiance, and you see her in the background right there, Kenzie and Roman, she came to me about doing a brand together, kind of like a really like fun, viral couple brand, right? And at first I wasn't really feeling it. I didn't want to be some cheesy couple that was doing like TikTok videos, right? So, but we didn't do TikTok originally. We did like this couples videos like on Instagram and Facebook. And the reaction was really, really good. Like I didn't realize how well it would be received, that it wasn't cheesy. It was really fun. Her and I have a really cool like chemistry where we can kind of bust on each other and laugh at each other and really have a lot of fun with it. So it wasn't cheesy. It was actually almost like argumentative, if you will. Well, anyways, I say that because we developed a TV show. and we came up with it by ourselves with our agent, Steve Mandel. And then we pitched it to the Marquee Sports Network. And, just two kids with like dreams, right? Well, they loved the TV show. They loved it. And they gave us money for a pilot. They loved the pilot. And now we have our own TV show that we co-created called the MVP game. And what that is, it's kind of like it's the newlywed game for Cubs super fans, right? That's the best way I can describe it. It makes sports fun for couples, for partners, not even like boyfriend, girlfriend. You could be brothers and sisters and moms and dads, dads and daughters. MVP stands for most valuable partner, and that's the TV show. So we have finished our first season on the Marquee Sports Network. They've been nothing but great to us. We love the Marquee Sports Network. As a lifelong diehard Chicago Cubs fan, to be working for the Cubs Network was a dream come true. And actually, right now, they premiered, we filmed 2 Bears episodes of our show as well. So the Cubs season is over. We have 2 Bears episodes. And then that'll get us to the new year. And then next year, man, anything goes, right? Looking for season number 2 and hopefully even more expansion from there. And I'm sorry I talked so long. That was my very long-winded answer about who I am and why I'm here.
This is awesome. This is awesome because there's people listening, there's people watching. And at the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter if you want to be on TV, radio, or an actor, whatever it is. It's like, it's like a goal that we shoot for, and to attain it or to get there, like that for me is exciting. Hearing people's stories, hearing your stories, getting on camera interviews, those things are just fascinating to me, especially when you're from Chicago, because we share the same, energy and the same stories, but for different contexts sometimes. And it's just you get together. It's awesome.
I'm born and raised in Chicago. I love Chicago. I'm never leaving Chicago. Part of the reason why I said I'm on a radio pause is because once we parted ways with US 99, we had a bunch of offers to do radio in different markets. And I told Stylz, and I told my agent, sorry, I'm not leaving. Like, I'm a Chicago boy. Like, I will wait for the right opportunity here in Chicago rather than go to Arizona or, Cleveland, wherever, right? Yeah. I'm not leaving. So my agent was kind of mad at me, but I was like, sorry, dude. Like, I'm a Chicago boy. I have a son. I have an 8-year-old son who is my entire world. My entire family is here. I love this city. You have that flag behind you. I'm the biggest Chicago homer in the world, right? So, right, I love it. So I'm not leaving. I mean, I even have my Chicago All-Star. I was the entertainment host for the NBA All-Star game back in 2020. So, I mean, I'm a Chicago boy through and through. So I'm not leaving. So that's why I'm on a quote-unquote radio pause and doing TV right now. Trust me, we've been talking to different radio stations and whatever, and I think that is in our future, I believe. But right now, we're full out with the TV thing, Kenzie and Roman, the MVP game. Here's a little secret for you. We actually have been developing a second television show that we're going to be shooting the pilot for in January. Yeah. I can't tell you really what it's about, but bottom line is that this Kenzie and Roman brand is here, and it's here to stay. And hopefully it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's taking off. As you were saying, you're doing the thing with the Cubbies and the Marquee Network. You did a couple with the Bears. Dude, this is just the beginning. This is just, I feel it like through the camera right now, through the screen. I feel it. And even watching you guys, it's a perfect show. It's a perfect match. It brings that rivalry energy sometimes. If you get, you messed it up. How did you mess it? I love it.
Right.
And so I think that this is just the beginning. You have the Bulls, which the Bulls are very familiar with you already. You have the Chicago Fire, who started to take off, especially after this World Cup. Like, soccer in Chicago is starting to take off. How about if the Fire says, hey, we want to do something with you here, Justin? What do you think about that?
Yeah. So here, I love your thinking, because we are in the middle of expanding the show. I will tell you, when it comes to Chicago, we have an exclusive deal with the Marquee Sports Network, right? So it is going to be a Cubs show for the Marquee Sports Network. And then we're doing the Bears because they have a partnership with the Bears as well, right?
Awesome.
So, yeah, I come from the Bulls. We're not doing a Bulls show right now. I'll never do a White Sox show, right? I would be so fake if I did that, right? Not happening. So, we are exclusive to Marquee and the Cubs, obviously here in Chicago. But we are in the middle of talking about expanding the show to different markets. And what that means is there are other Marquee sports networks in different cities, right? In New York, they have the Yes Network, right? So who's to say this show couldn't be wrapped around the Yankees for the Yes Network in New York?
Amazing.
Wink, wink, right? So bottom line is the expansion is going to come outside of Chicago.
Genius.
In Chicago, it'll always be Cubs and it'll always be Marquee. Again, with the partnership with the Bears, we can do the Bears as well. But it's Marquee. Marquee is our partner here in Chicago, and we love them for it.
Absolutely.
But you're not wrong about expansion. There are other opportunities out there that we'll announce hopefully very soon.
And like you said earlier, like to just kind of reiterate what you said, it's like to be a lifelong Cubby fan, and now you're actually in the new WGN, right? Because we grew up watching them on WGN, and now Marquee has their own. And it's funny because I like watching some of the Yankees sometimes, and the Yes Network is awesome because only they get it, like unless you have like the certain cable station, whatnot. But to have that Marquee finally here for the Cubbies, and then you being able to be the face of this show with your fiance, soon to be wife, that's amazing. I mean, that's something that I think I wish you the best of luck, and you and your family with that, because it's gonna take off. I know it is. When I saw it, I'm like, man, this is a great idea. And I'm always writing and just getting ideas, and I'm like, bingo. Yeah. That's it. You got to get things that are attractive to the people, to the audience. I love that.
Yeah. Thank you. As a kid growing up here, I've said a million times I'm born and raised here because I'm very proud of that. But I mean, I was obsessed, still am, with the Cubs, right? So, but when you're a kid, you don't really think of it more than a fandom, right? So I love the Cubs. I love Ryan Sandberg. I love Mark Grace. I love Sammy Sosa. I love these players that I grew up with, but I never thought I could ever work for them. Like, my dream as a kid was to play for the Chicago Cubs, to play baseball for the Chicago Cubs, okay?
I read that. I saw that. Yeah.
I didn't make it that far. I was a good baseball player, didn't make it to the pros. So like at that point, but that was like my dream, right? So at that point, what does your dream look like, right? It's funny. When I was a kid, I wanted to play for the Cubs or be the next Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson. So like I didn't achieve either one of those things. Those are my dreams. Didn't achieve them. But in the music world, I became, a pretty decorated songwriter and singer, and traveled the world with my group, the Jump Smokers. We traveled with Pitbull and Enrique Iglesias all around the world. I was in China 5 times, the Philippines 3 times. We traveled everywhere with this music group. So fine, I wasn't Michael Jackson, but I had a pretty damn good musical run that's still rocking right now, right? And then fine, I didn't make it to be the Cubs, but I have a TV show now on the Cubs network, right? So, I mean, I know you like to inspire people. And my thing is like, just because you have a dream and because you think it's going to be this doesn't mean that if it's not that, it's a failure, right? So like, I never thought I'd be in radio. That was never my goal. But like, because of my music career, fine, I didn't get to the level of Michael Jackson, but it opened this radio door that literally is why I am living in this beautiful house and providing my son with a great family. Radio has provided me with a phenomenal life, and it was never my first choice ever. It wasn't even my 5th choice. But like, I think if you work hard and you study your crafts and you believe in whatever God you believe in, I believe in God. I think as long as you follow your dreams and keep moving forward, honestly, you never know what door is going to open up for you. It may not be your first option, but who's to say that the option that opens up for you isn't a better option than your first option?
Amazing. And just how he prepares you for something down there that you think is like, no way, that's not me. And then next thing you know, it's like, wow, all this time you've been prepping me for this. So that's amazing. That's amazing grace. I love that song. But because I want to ask you so many questions. Like I think about this and being how it just, like I said, I got this vibe. I think about myself like standing on the Cubby Wrigley Field greenery with my microphone and interviewing people. And I'm thinking, I think I'll just run the second base before I do anything and dive.
Right.
How was that first time you stepped on that field as a TV personality? How did you get to separate that fandom in you, or didn't you?
Well, let me take you back before the TV show with Stylz and Roman. We got to throw out the first pitch once at Wrigley Field. Yeah. And we also got to sing the 7th inning stretch twice at Wrigley Field. So, like, even before the TV show ever happened and working with Marquee, with Stylz and Roman, we got to live out fantasies, man. Wow. Like, I mean, like, that was unbelievable. I'd say for me, I lost my father back in 2017, who was like my best friend, right? But I will say my last time that I sang the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley Field, I got to bring my dad up to the press box, and he was in the box while I was singing the 7th inning stretch. And I think of those things, right? Like, it's like, oh my God, like, it's like, that was such a cool, right? Yeah. I mean, I get tears in my eyes thinking about it too. I could tell you a million of those stories, but like, that was so cool to be able to share with my father, his son singing the 7th inning stretch. I mean, I have an 8-year-old son son now too. And so I think about those kind of things, like as a dad, like I think of myself as a big kid sometimes, right? Like, I mean, I'm this kid with a TV show, but no, I'm a dad, right? So like tonight, my son has a piano recital. Like, I'm going to be that dad with tears in his eyes filming my son playing the piano. Like, you just never know where life takes his music or his sports. Just like my dad didn't know where my music or my sports were going to take me. So I'll say that, I never get used to being at Wrigley Field. I never take it for granted.
Never.
But I will say my first time was even before the TV show. It was throwing out the first pitch and singing the stretch twice. I'll even kind of parallel this to when I was working for the Bulls for 5 seasons, being able to be on that court, this historic court in the house that Jordan built. I got to run all over that court and do contests and MC different things. The All-Star game in 2020, I never once took it for granted. Yeah, it was huge. I never once took it for granted being on that sacred court, just as I never take it for granted walking into historic, beautiful Wrigley Field.
Gosh, like, just thinking about that, you've been to the house that Jordan built. You've been to where Sammy Sosa hit bombs, right? Yeah. Where you were in the bleachers with your friends, and now you're working for them. Yeah, that is a dream come true for you. And I know it doesn't stop there. I know that continues, and I know that right now the energy and you and Kenzie, what you guys got going, the momentum is definitely rocking in your advantage right now. So yeah, man, I love this. I see big things continuing to come from you and your heart, your mind, and how you're looking at your job. You don't even look at your job as, I got to go to work. This is awesome. Like, if I can do this for a living, shoot, and hear people's stories and share them to the world and encourage and inspire. I love that. And you talk about your 8-year-old son, and let's transition a little bit about the youth, right? Like, for me as a youth mentor and trying to be more involved in the city, I guess this is perfect. Like, he's playing the piano, and you have other kids that may not have that opportunity, or that do. But what advice can you give them to push through, whether it's their music, TV, or whatever? Because when I talk to the youth, it's sometimes like, well, this is all I've got, and I'm I want to reshape that, and this is why I love to bring people like yourselves on the show, because I want to be like, man, listen to what Justin went through. Like, he wasn't even thinking about being on TV, let alone the radio or vice versa. And I mean, I think that's something that for us in my community, the youth, being able to give them inspiring hope that they could reach their dream.
Yeah. I think, here's what I did as a kid and what I'm doing for my son right now. And I really, truly think it might be the best path to help the youth of our city, right? Is that I found things that I loved. I love baseball and I love music. Okay. And I put my head down and I did both, very, very hard. I mean, I played every baseball league and travel baseball league. There was times when I was in a travel league when I was a kid playing 140 games a year, right? I mean, like, quadruple headers on Sunday. I loved baseball. That was my sport, right? My friends love baseball. And then music, right? I love music. I was writing poems back in like 4th grade that turned into songs eventually, which turned into me having a music career. Actually, before my music career, I was a mobile disc jockey. I was DJing different like parties, school dances, weddings. Like, I found music and I followed music. So my point is, with me as a kid, I found 2 things that I love, baseball and music, and I did both as best I could. I put my head down and did both things, and it opened doors for me that I never thought would be possible in the music world, entertainment world, radio world, and then the sports world. And for my son, who's only 8, what I'm doing with him is I'm putting him in everything I can, right? He's in soccer. He's in piano. In the summer, he's in baseball. Like, he loves to swim. I try to put him in everything, and then let him tell me what he likes eventually, right? Like, Daddy, I love piano, or I love, like, whatever that is, I'm going to really try to nurture that relationship and try to nurture that hobby. I think, because who knows what he could do. I mean, there was a time a couple years ago, he wanted to quit piano because he hated the practicing of it, right? And I'm like, listen, because he's so good at it. I'm like, you're not quitting piano. I tried my best. I bought him a keyboard for his bedroom, and that made it more fun for him. He loved the keyboard, not the piano, because the keyboard was kind of like a toy, where the piano was like work, right? So he's in his room all the time with a piano. He doesn't know this, but for Christmas, Daddy and Kenzie, we got him an iPad with like a kind of a studio in the iPad where he can start like actually making because he's writing songs, right? So I'm gonna like nurture that relationship with him in music, right? Just like with baseball, we play catch when it's not cold in Chicago. We play catch outside every single day. We're in the basement. We're doing the flip drills every single day. Like I'm trying to nurture these things. And my advice to kids out there is find what you love, whether it be sports, whether it be music, whether it be chess, whether it be writing, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be entertainment. Just find what you love and your passion, and really, really nurture that relationship, because you just never know as an adult what doors could be opened up for that. Because the old cliche is like, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. Well, if you love, writing, if you love, writing stories or whatever, if you end up, writing books for a living or writing for a newspaper or an online, whatever, then you're going to love what you do and you're never going to quote unquote work a day in your life. So that's my advice to kids, is really, really find what you love. And don't worry about what you want to be when you get older. Just find what you love to do.
That's good.
And find what you love to do right now, and doors will open. Like just work your butt off, and doors will open, hopefully in that field, or maybe a different door will open up because of that field and give you a better option that you never even dreamed about.
Ooh, I got chills right now, man. I can't. How can I even come back with that? That's amazing, because you know what? When I used to teach, I used to have to study. And when you study, it rocks you. And by the time it rocks you and you go and teach it, it's much more impactful, because you've been through it. It's almost you've been through the trenches of learning and deciphering these things, so that way you can translate it the best way possible to the audience. And at the same time, it's really molding and cracking you while you study it, right? And so that's how I see it, is like, as we continue to learn our craft, myself, I love doing this, right? I continue to say that. And I
can tell.
I just want to continue doing these things and telling people stories and writing them down, so that not for me to just hold on to this, but so that the world can experience a joy and a peace unlike no other, right? Like, that. Yeah. And so I think, and to cultivate those gifts that are in them, and that sometimes we need the encouragement that we just heard of, though, honestly, Justin, that find what you love. Don't worry about what you want to be when you grow up. Man, we all want to be cops and firefighters and baseball players.
There are so many kids that I grew up with that wanted to, play sports or music or be doctors. But like, you don't always get what you want. You don't always, as an 8-year-old boy, know what your life is supposed to be like, right? So why stress out about the fact of like, oh, my dad wants me to be a doctor, and okay, that's cool. I mean, listen, we need doctors, right? But like, find what you love, because God gave all of us strengths and weaknesses, right? So like, find your strengths though, and truly, nurture those strengths and enjoy those strengths. Like, again, I would have never thought as a kid writing poems in like fourth grade would turn into me, Justin Roman, having 3 top 40 records nationwide and being on sold out tours back to back to back. But that started because I love music and I love writing poems, and it turned into something really, really cool. I would have never thought then that music career would turn into a radio career. Like, you just never know. My 8-year-old self would have no idea what I've done and what I was able to do, but he knew he liked writing poems and he knew he liked playing baseball. That's all he knew. So just like, find what you love and nurture that. And you just never know what doors are going to be opened up and what your life is going to look like.
I don't want to keep you too long. I know that you got a busy schedule. You got to prep for your son's recital. Would you come talk to the youth one day in our community and just give a few words? Won't be when it's 20 below zero, but maybe in the spring, maybe for Little League, or maybe before the kids get out of high school. Get you in there to just say a few words, man. That was you brought me back to high school. I want to go back now and play baseball.
No, man, I would love to. I'm actually the spokesperson here for the Elgin Boys and Girls Club. So I speak to a lot of their fundraising galas, but also to their youth of the year events and everything. So I love to. Here's the deal: when I walk away from this podcast, or if you're listening right now and you're turning it off eventually, I hope you walk away knowing or thinking that Justin Roman is the ultimate optimistic person. Like, I'm a positive person. I'm optimistic. Not to say that my life has been perfect, because I've dealt with a couple tragedies. I told you, I lost my father back in 2017. I've had a couple tragedies that I'm not going to get into right now. But at the end of the day, you have 2 ways to look at life. You can feel bad for yourself and feel sorry for yourself and pout and be depressed, or you can realize that every single day that you wake up is a blessing.
Right.
And there's still so many positive things that you can do to help not only you and your family's lives, but other people's lives.
Indeed.
And I just choose to be positive and try my best to be a good role model and try my best to be a positive light in this city, which, as you know, man, we love the city, but there's a bit of darkness and a bit of things going on in the city. So I'd rather be the person that tries to portray light and happiness and optimism. That's how I choose to live my life. And I just think it works out best, you know?
And that's the best way to live, man. Is just, just keep your head up, stay faithful as possible and just keep your head up and know that, like you said earlier, we've all been given these gifts and abilities and we just got to sometimes push through the pushback, right? It pushes back, it works against us sometimes. And you just got to get through the adversity, like you said. And you said it. I can't say it any better than that. But yes, again, thank you so much, man. And before I do leave, I want to get your pick on the Cubbies, the off-season moves. What do you think about the off-season moves?
I think I am so excited. Listen, I knew in my heart they were going to sign a big-time shortstop, okay? But once 3 of them were off the board and there was 1 left and a bunch of teams fighting for Dansby Swanson, I was getting a little worried.
Me too.
But they signed him. And here's the deal. Here's what I truly believe. And mind you, please understand, we have a TV show on Marquee. I don't know anything. Jed De Hoya does not call me. I don't have any connections when it comes to what their plan is. But I just happen to think that Dansby Swanson was the guy they wanted all along. I think the contract is way better than a 13-year deal for Carlos Correa. Dansby Swanson plays every single day. He's insanely healthy.
Yep.
He seems like a very high character guy.
Yep.
I love that move. I think him and Nico Horner up the middle is going to be the best middle infield defense you could have in baseball.
Yeah.
And you put Cody Bellinger at center field. I think up the middle, we are going to be really, really, really good. I think our pitching staff is going to be great. I love the young guys that we have that are coming up in this system. Justin Steele, Hayden, I still can't pronounce his last name. But
the guy from the Yankees, Tyen or something? Tyen from the Yankees.
Jameson Tyen, who we just signed. I saw his press conference the other day. I like this dude. He's a high character dude.
He's a big dude.
I think that the Cubs are not done yet. I don't know when you're going to drop this podcast, but I think there's more moves to be made. Yeah. So I am really, really excited about 2023 season. I think at the end of the day, Cub fans are going to realize that this whole quote unquote rebuild / retool will have been 1.5 years. It was the year they traded the core. Yeah. And then last year they are going for it now moving forward. Because in a very, very winnable National League Central, I think the Cubs are going to be right at the top next year. And listen, I'm not stupid enough to say they're winning the World Series next year because, I don't believe that truly. I think they're going to be better. Right. They're not a World Series contender yet. But I do believe they're going to compete for the Central. And as the Phillies showed you last year, just get in the playoffs and you never know what could happen.
Bingo. Exactly. Man, I wish we could talk more. Thank you so much for being on. I'm looking forward to seeing the Cubbies again. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And before you go, one more time, what's up with your show? Give us the show, the time, the day it airs. Let's plug it because I want to watch it.
Yeah, so you can follow us on social media. We are at the MVP Game in all platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, at themvpgame.com. It's hard to tell you when it's going to air because I don't know when the podcast drops, and also Marquee, they play it all the time. So just basically check your local list. Check our social media. We're very good about telling you when it's going to air. Check your local listings, but they do play our episodes a lot. Yeah. You can basically, you won't go a couple days without seeing us on TV, which is great. We thank the Marquee Sports Network for all the spins they give us. But yeah, follow us at the MVP Game. You can follow me at Live with Roman. You can follow my beautiful fiance at Kenzie K on air. And we're all intertwined. So if you're looking for like a certain page, just go to one page, you'll find all the pages.
Yeah, but, that's what I did. I went to your Facebook and they were all there. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
We're pretty good on social media here's the deal. It's a very complicated world on what streaming channel and what cable package. And so we try to make it easy on our socials. Like, here's when it's going to air at this time on this channel. We try to make it easy, but I want to thank you, man. You've been a really a fun interview, and I love your energy. You got a very positive vibe yourself. So thank you for inviting me on this podcast, and I'm looking forward to hopefully doing more down the road.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Say hi to Kenzie for me. And your son tonight, he rocks out at the recital.
Yeah.
He does some Elton John stuff.
Look, he's gonna play Deck the Halls like it's never been played before.
Baby, let's go. Well, make sure you shoot a little bit of that and share it with your audience because we want to see that. Thank you again. Say hi to Kenzie. Say hi to your son. Rock out today. Thank you again. Good luck with everything. Justin, Roman, everybody. Hey, what's up, Chicago?
Yeah!
Thank you again, bro. Take care to yourself.
Thank
Take
you,
care,
man.
bro.
Take care.
Peace.